For more on all this, let's bring in Texas Congressman Chip Roy. He won his district with about 62% of the vote, so we don't have to wait for a count in your district. Is that right, Congressman?
No, we did pretty well. We've got strong voters in the Hill Country in Central Texas, and I'm proud to represent them, being sent back for a fourth term. And that race is decided. And, we did very well in Texas, South Texas included.
All right. Well, what about the overall balance of power? Your party, the Republican Party, feels pretty good, but you need a few more votes, a few more seats to actually win any congressional votes. You think you'll get them?
Yeah, no, I think so. I think we're looking at probably ending up somewhere around 222 or 223, which would give us at least a healthy majority. I think, we're watching every seat carefully and making sure that we can count the votes and get them done properly. You noted some of them. There's some other races in California like Mike Garcia, and we've got some others like Michelle Steele and others that I think are very close. And, South Arizona, we've got some that are still to be called. But I believe we're going to have a majority somewhere in the low 220s. And again, it's I think a good thing for the country that President Trump have a Republican House and a Republican Senate. President Trump delivered a clear message for the American people that they rallied behind a landslide by any reasonable definition in modern times. And, if we have a strong House and a strong Senate, we can deliver on the things the American people want.
I think no state has been affected by the illegal immigration crisis as much as Texas has. You've had more immigrants come across the Texas border than any other state. Now, President Trump, incoming President Trump, won 12 of the 14 border counties in Texas. What does that say about how people down there are feeling?
Well, first of all, it's a massive shift, okay? And when you have people on the front lines of an invasion feeling it in real time, then you see what happens. This isn't about race. This isn't about identity. This isn't about divvying us up into categories. People rejected that. I think that is the most positive thing that came out of this. And this is President Trump delivering for the American people. This is President Trump building a coalition, broad coalition, with people like RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard and other great folks across the spectrum. But importantly, reaching out to demographics. But it wasn't even really about identity politics. It was about standing up for the things that people on the border in Texas wanted to see. In 2022, we had 1.3 million people encountered at the southern border. We've had multiple Texans who have been murdered by criminals that were released onto the streets by Kamala Harris and by Joe Biden and the radical progressive Democrats. We've had tens of thousands of people who have died from fentanyl poisoning across the country. I had 6, John, in the school district in which my family lives, 6 children who died. This is very real in South Texas. I represent Central Texas, but I'm not that far away. I've got good friends down there. That's why you saw in Maverick County, where you've got Eagle Pass, which was fairly notorious for where they had to deal with the border crossings over the last couple of years. They had 59% support for Donald Trump in a county that's 95% Hispanic. People think Hispanics are monolithically Democrat. They are not. South Texas Hispanics are conservative. They want their streets to be safe. They don't like cartels. They don't like fentanyl. They don't like people coming across the border, invading their homes. And that's why Donald Trump won resoundingly.
Not many Americans like any of those things, Congressman. When you get back to Washington, one of the things that Republicans are going to have to do, presuming they keep control of the House, is elect or re-elect the Speaker. What do you think Mike Johnson's chances are to be re-elected?
Well, look, Speaker Johnson is a friend. He worked tirelessly and worked hard on the campaign trail. But we got a lot of work to do between now and even getting to January. We have an omnibus that is looming on the horizon in December, where we got to figure out whether we're going to be fiscally responsible. We've got issues like the National Defense Authorization Act. We've got, pressures that are going to be put on place for more funding for Ukraine and other issues. And we need to do our job responsibly and set the table for success for President Trump. And importantly, we don't need any of these recriminations by some members of our own party who are running around like school children complaining about rules, saying, if you vote against a rule, you should be kicked off of committees and things like this. Mike Johnson is going to have to demonstrate that he can corral this Republican conference to deliver for the American people and deliver for President Trump. That needs to happen over the next several weeks. And I'm going to be sitting down with Mike this week, sitting down with other members of the conference. But we have no choice but to deliver, right? Failure is not an option. We were given, I believe, all 3 houses. We'll see. Obviously, Obviously, we still need to confirm the House. But I believe the American people put us there because they want to see change. We can't keep doing the same stuff where you're throwing money at Ukraine, leaving the border wide open, spending massive amounts of money on these omnibus spending bills. We've got to deliver. No more excuses. That's what I want to hear out of the Speaker. But he's got a lot of Republicans who are still concerned. We've got to figure out how to get everybody on the same page.
He's got a lot of cats to herd, you can say. Texas Congressman Chip Roy, it's good to talk to you. Thanks.
Thanks, John. God bless.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.